What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Trout Fish Aquatics. Today I'm working out in the fish room. The fish room's in a little bit of disarray. I'm breaking down the stand for the 75-gallon tank. As you can see, the 75-gallon tank is out here, as well as the 150. And if you notice, the 150, I resealed it the other day. I put big, thick seals on the tank, about 1 inch wide. And because it's so thick, I have to wait extra amount of time for that silicone to cure. I wanted to make sure I had big seals on there because there's no braces, cross braces like you see on the 75 here, on the 150. So that glass is going to flex a little bit, and I wanted to make sure that that silicone had real good grip on the glass. So that's why I put big seals in there. But I'm actually halfway through tearing this stand apart. So I'm going to tell you a little bit what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to time lapse a little bit of video of me building this thing. And that'll pretty much be it for the video, and then I'll have another video on where to get all of the things that I'm getting to set up the 150, and then I'm going to have a video for setting up the 150, and probably a video of me catching the fish for the 150. So it'll be a little series. But basically what I'm doing here is the 75-gallon tank has to go on top. So I'm going to be reinforcing this because currently it's just two 2x4s, which I think is plenty strong enough, but I'm going to add a little bit of more bracing just to be sure. I'm going to be taking 2 more 2x4s and adding them to the length here to essentially make a 4x4. So I'm going to rest it on the inside here. So this 2x4 is actually 3.5 inches, and this 2-inch section is 1.5. So I'm going to double it up, making it 3 inches. This cross brace here is going to get cut down by 3 inches. It's still going to rest on the supporting joists that are under here. And then I'm going to take the 2 2x4s here, and I'm going to attach it with a bunch of screws in the front, and I'm going to do the same thing on the back. That way that 75-gallon tank is being supported by essentially 4x4s. And then what I'm going to do from there is I need to cut new vertical bracing for here to come all the way down to about here instead of here where it was. Because the 150 is much taller. If we get down here and look at the 75-gallon tank compared to the 150, this tank is about 6 inches taller. I think it's actually 7 inches. This is 21, this is 28, 8 inches tall. 28 inches. Can't talk. So I do actually have to lower this down, and it has to come out an additional 5 inches. So I'm going to be building a shelf on the bottom that actually extends out to hold that big tank. It's going to sit lower, further out, and then the top of the tank is going to be somewhere around this area, pretty much in line with this 55 here, so it just comes straight across, and put it back together. So I'm going to head out to the garage here right now, and we're going to cut the boards, and then I'll come back in, and we'll time-lapse me building this thing. So here we go. Alright, so we're out in the garage right now. Stand's all torn apart, and I'm going to start cutting the boards for the new stand for the bottom shelf. So basically what I need to make this work is I need to make 4 34-inch boards as the upper supports, 10 5-inch boards as the lower supports, 9 16-inch boards from the front to back supports that are going to run underneath the tank, and then 2 supports at 11 1/4, which is going to be out on the front sides supporting the front shelf. So that's pretty much that. So what I'm going to do is, instead of just using new boards and cutting up new boards, I'm going to be using the little pieces that I took off, and I'm going to be cutting these down to size, and you know, utilize the scrap parts that I've got. So we're going to go ahead, I'm going to time-lapse me cutting these up, and take the parts back inside and start putting it back together. Alright, so I got those boards cut. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the shelf that the 75 long was originally sitting on, which is this one, as well as the shelf that was the base that transferred the load of all the tanks into the floor. I'm going to be removing these boards here. They're 11 inches long and replacing them with the 16-inch long ones, so that way it's 19 inches front to back so that the 150 can sit on it. And the other one will be 19 front to back as well, so that way the load is transferred through the stand into the floor. So we're going to go ahead and start tearing this apart and putting it back together. Alright guys, so as you can see, I got the two shelves done. We got the tank shelf right there and the base plate back here. And you can probably see I'm sweating already. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach all the pieces of the stand onto the main frame. Already using the screws that are pre-installed from when it was previously built. And then once I get everything attached, I'm going to run extra hardware in for extra support. And then I'm going to take the top frame off, add in them extra 2x4s, and then the stand will be done. So yeah, I think that's it. So here we go. Basically what I did is I took the upper framework and set it on top of a 2x4 and then laid the base frame on top of it also so that the bottom was completely level and flush. And then I attached the back legs to the bottom shelf. Once I attached the back legs, I measured 14.5 inches from the back here to the front here and attached the front legs 14.5 inches because that's what the width on the top is. So I attached that. So the upper frame is now attached to the lower shelf. And then I went around and attached these front legs. And this is going to be what supports and holds together the very front of the stand, because this tank is 19 inches front to back and the upper stand is 14.5. So these are going to support the very front of the tank. So I attached those, and then I went around and attached all the 5-inch blocks, because that is going to be what the shelf that the tank sits on actually sits on and supports. So there's 10 vertical supports. A 2x4 at failure can hold 1,000 pounds vertically. So roughly 10,000 pounds before failure being transferred into the floor. So half of that is what I consider safe, so 5,000 pounds. And then 150-gallon tank is going to be roughly 1,500 pounds. 75-gallon tank is going to be roughly 800 pounds. So we're looking about 2,300 to 2,500 pounds, depending on what all's in there. So it's only at a quarter of the failure point load, half of the safety rating, half of 5,000, 2,500. So I'm pretty confident that this is going to be able to hold all the weight. So basically what I'm going to do now is I'm going to run another hyperlapse or a time-lapse video. And I'm going to put the shelf in. I'm going to attach it from the sides, and then I'm going to put in the vertical supports here, and that will probably be it for tonight. This is taking a little bit longer than I originally thought it was going to take, so I will pick it up again tomorrow. And that would be pretty much it. So then tomorrow I would just do the top shelf, and then just attach up the rest of the 2x4s with some extra screws in addition to what it's already got, and we'll be good to go. So let's do this again. Alright, so that's pretty much the base of the stand. The bottom is together and assembled. The only thing else that I have to do to the bottom is the very front boards that I put on, which you guys can't see, they're right here. Not this one, but the one in front, but the small one. I have to put one screw in that to hold that together, and then I still have to add a screw into each one of these little blocks here through the frame this way, just to hold that in place. There's already two in the bottom, but nothing in the top, so they're just kind of sitting there right now. And then tomorrow I'm going to come in, I'm going to take this top shelf off, and I'm going to get that fixed. And you can probably see the gap between this bar here and here. It's the same size gap all the way around. So, drop my remote. Once I take this off and redo it and get it stronger, I'll put it back in, it'll lower down, and it'll sit in the stand properly. So, I think that's it for tonight. So I'm going to pick up this video tomorrow. So, see you guys then. Alright guys, so it is the next day. Just got home from work, had some dinner, and I'm going to start building the stand again. So basically what I'm going to have to do is I got to take this top shelf off. I have to remove the end supports on both ends here. I have to trim about 3 inches off of each one, and then I have to cut boards to match the length of this. I'm just going to put another 2x4 on the inside of each one of these, and then cut a bunch of boards to match in the middle. I'm going to build the center frame, mount the center frame in here, and then I'm going to attach these two outer support beams to the outsides of that frame. And then shoot a bunch of screws in the front and back to basically make a 4x4 on each side to help support the weight of the 75-gallon long. So I'm going to get some measurements real quick, and then we're going to go out to the garage and cut up some more boards. Alright guys, so I took a couple measurements off of the stand, and for the overall length I need to cut 77 inches. And for the front to back dimension, since I'm going to have two 77-inch boards on the front and back, for that tank was originally 11.5, but now they only need to be 8.5 because we're adding the extra support beams. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to cut the 77-inch boards, 2 of those, and we need to cut 6 of the 8.5-inch boards. And I have a lot of these boards that you saw me take out of the shelves when I built them up to the 150 tank size. So I'm going to cut these. I think these should be the same, 11.5. Yep, 11.5. We're going to cut these down to 8.5, and then we'll be able to use these and recycle a little bit of wood, and you know, get that top shelf done. So here we go. Alright, so I got the top shelf done. It's sitting right here behind me. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through and pull the screws out of the ends right here, as well as the inside screw right here, which is going to release this board. I can then take the shelf that I built, drop it into place, reattach it here and here so that it holds the uprights in the same position and they don't move. And then I can remove this screw, lower this end, remove the same screw on the other end, drop this board down, reattach this screw, put these screws back in, and then the top shelf is done. And then we'll just go through, add a couple screws in here, you know, give it a little bit more support, which it's already pretty solid, but extra screws never hurt. So we'll go ahead and get to the top. Alright guys, so that's pretty much it for this video. Stand is all put together. Did run into a little bit of a mishap here with a split board, but I put another screw into the same board that it's going into, as well as leaving that one in there. So it should not be an issue because I added the extra secureness with the extra screws. But other than that, everything is together very well. I'm really happy with the way it turned out, and I'm excited to get the 75 up here and the 150 here. And the next video coming out is going to be a video of me going and picking out the substrate, the lighting, plants, driftwood, things like that for the 150, and get that set up. It probably won't be for another week though, so I'll be doing some other videos this weekend. But stay tuned for that 150 setup because that will be coming soon. I'm just waiting on that silicone to fully cure before I go setting it up because I don't want to risk any leaks or anything like that. I don't think it would leak now. I'm pretty sure the silicone's cured, but I want to give it the extra time. So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching Trapfish Aquatics, and I will see you guys in the next video.